Okay, we're live.
Hi.
Yay! So this is, now I can't count. I think this is the sixth interview that I've done with the inner court people, although I might have to do the last one again because apparently I uploaded it to Facebook instead. Here we are with Hecsen. Hello, sweetheart. How are you?
Good. I miss you. I miss you so much. I miss you and everyone over there.
I miss you like crazy. All right. So first, like nobody, I don't know if there's anybody that's not going to know who you are, but why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi guys, I'm Hecsen. I've been in Mama's circle. Wow, I've known Mama. I think 2017. I found you on YouTube, and yeah. It's been a while, yeah. I think I've been following you for a pretty long time now. My name is Hecsen, and I'm also known as the Bone Whisperer because I read bones. That's like my main thing that I do with divination. And I like to describe myself as a spiritual witch. That's like the most simplest way I can define my path.
Yes, and we'll get into that. We'll get into all of that. So, as a matter of fact, the first question is describe your spiritual path from childhood until now and what drew you to this path.
Oh, wow. I feel that I feel like I was born into this path. Ever since I could remember as a child, I've been very spiritual. I didn't know what to call it, of course, as a child, right? And it all really began, if you look at it from even before I came into this world, it began with my mom was into Santeria, which is an African Caribbean magical path. And so when she went through initiation, I was in her womb and she did not know that. And so I was born into the faith, right? I was born with what they call some type of how can I say it in English? I know the word in Spanish. I came into this plane, right, with some type of in Spanish it's conocimiento, which translates to knowledge, but it's not knowledge because it's not like, but it was kind of like a knowing,
ordained.
Yeah, or some type of like, I came into this world with a different eye. I was coming into this world by looking at it a different way than someone uninitiated or anything like that.
Right.
And so as a child, I was very, very spiritual. I can see spirits and communicate with them kind of like how I can see you, like a living flesh person. And of course, I didn't know the difference between a living person and a dead person till then later on. I start asking questions about 4 years old or 3 years old. That's when I started to ask questions, and I was like, well, what is this? Why does this happen? Or what, and my mom was trying to,
when you're born into it, I really think that's the only people who see that like that, because Joey does too. Like, I remember the questions from toddler, like he's right there. You don't see him,
yeah.
And he says hello, and
particular things, and I'm sure Joey would tell you something very particular that you would be like, yeah, like it's impossible.
He would be stopped at a stop sign sometimes, and he'd be like, that guy is saying,
see them at like a bus stop, like a regular person. Yeah. Yep. That's happened to me.
Yeah.
So as a child, I was very spiritual, and my parents did not raise me within the Santeria religion. That was something that I kept on exploring on my own. And so being raised in that tradition, of course, you're still considered a Catholic. because of certain family members, like my grandparents will go to church and things like that. So it is very, you work with images of saints and things like that. So it merges, the African practices merge with Christianity in a way. And so from like the age of 5 and 6 to like, I would say 12, right? They were preparing me for my first communion and things like that. My spiritual practice was very Christian based or Catholic based, with a lot of candle magic, novenas to the Virgin Mary and stuff like that. So that's really where my magical path started at that age. And then once I crossed over to 14 years old, I discovered Wicca. I discovered this whole new world out there that I did not know of. And so back then, you could only use internet in school. I mean, because in my household, we really didn't have a computer at home. We couldn't afford that, you know?
Right.
And so it was all in school, computer. Usually we didn't have access to a lot of the websites and things like that. Like in school, there's a parental supervision thing. So half of the stuff was locked. You couldn't really log into the internet and explore.
Especially back then, because Wicca was like,
yeah. And so it was a taboo. And then everybody was like, you couldn't research that in school unless you were doing a paper. Like I remember when we did the Salem witch trials, which in social studies, they teach you that and stuff like that. And then you go into a study of them. For that case, they did take us to the library. They would enter a code with that permission, and then we can explore anything witchcraft if we wanted to.
Right.
Yeah.
Under their supervision.
Yeah. Under the supervision. And so for me, it was really saving my weekly allowance, which was my lunch money. And I would save my weekly allowance till I had $20. And I would go to Barnes and Noble and buy a book.
Wow. So nice.
And, yeah. And so it all started with Raven Grimassi's Wiccan Magic, or is it Wiccan Magic? Yes, Wiccan Magic. Mm-hmm. And so I start with him and read into Italian witchcraft. Then I discovered Scott Cunningham and, Silver Ravenwolf. She's like the ultimate wishy-washy teen witch in our days.
Yep. And then Buckland.
Yeah. But Buckland, I feel Buckland was very traditional. Like he had his own, like with there's nothing wrong with Silver Ravenwolf, right? Because I learned a few things, but with her, it's very like wishy-washy,
All love and light.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I have my own journey with her too. I have like all of her books almost. I have a ton of them. So, and I always like encourage young people to go through, because really she brought so many people in, because she made it like all happy and good and stuff, that at least she brought so many people in, even if she's like, taking
light. She brought it. She made it, for me at least. She broke it down. It's kind of like she dummied it down or stupefied it. That's the way I can put it. Right? Yeah. For new beginners.
Made it accessible.
Yeah, and she made it very accessible. So, I mean, for that time of my life, right, my teen years, it worked for me.
Yeah.
Yep. I learned a lot from it, Not now. You won't get me. I mean, I still have some of her books, and I don't really look much in them other than the big fat one, the Teen Witch Book of Shadows.
Mm-hmm.
Her big reference book. That one's a good one.
Yeah.
That one's a good one because it's like a big reference encyclopedia,
right?
Kind of.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah. Describe your unique current path and what practices you do to help define that path.
Wow. Today my path consists of a lot of my previous studies. I do still follow my Orisha, which is my matron goddess, Yemaya. She is my Orisha from right from when I'm born. Where each of us are born, who are born in the tradition, you're born with an Orisha that walks with you since the beginning. And so she's my Orisha, and I honor her. I still do certain practices that I honor her with. I do not practice Santeria, but certain aspects of that I've taken into my own personal practice too. I also work with Caribbean shamanism. It's the only way I could describe it, which works with the Caribbean natives of the islands. So that's part of my practice as well.
That's such a good way to put it. I have not heard that term together yet. I like that.
I was thinking about it the other day, and I'm finding myself now that my parents are not home, and I'm by myself most of the day. I'm finding myself with a little bit more time on my hands, so I might start writing, and we'll see where that goes. But I don't see you don't see a lot about that because they're handed down traditions, and so it's usually passed on from either mother to daughter or grandfather to grandson, or shaman, especially shaman home practices. It's very like the folk traditions here in the Americas. They're handed down by word of mouth.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of written word, and
Yeah.
so I would like to start something like that.
And do you think, now this is off topic, sorry, and not on my list of questions, but do you think that the other people who practice like around the same kind of thing, do you think they would be open to you teaching it?
I don't think
or because it's like kind of a close
I don't think
practice?
it'll be openly received.
Right?
I think there's a lot of criticism that will come with something like that because it's almost like a very in most of those traditions, right? They're handed down word of mouth on purpose.
Right.
So you're not supposed to have writing on that. Or if you do, you're supposed to keep your journals to yourself. It's like you're not supposed to reveal to the world this enclosed tradition that only our people are supposed to know. But for me, that's part of gatekeeping. And that for me goes against what I stand for.
Right.
I want there's so many things that I figured out, throughout the years that I wish I would have figured out way sooner. And I feel like if I would have figured it out way sooner, I would have been way more advanced in my practice than what I am now. And I'm okay with where I am at now, but it took so long to break certain like restraints, right? Even from coming from a Catholic background and a Wiccan background and stuff like that, which Wicca played part in my teen years and it prepared me for my path that I practice today. But if you ask me today if am I Wiccan, I am not Wiccan. I don't identify as Wiccan.
Yeah, me neither.
But it molded me in a way,
Yeah, it was like the bouncing board to look into this kind of path and then figure it out. What challenges have you experienced on your journey?
Challenges. I would say actually like finally meeting other people that are like-minded. For a very long time, I did not have like a spiritual family at all.
Right.
Till I found you and
Right.
and then I met you and the first Witchy-Palooza happened and all that, which was tarot stock, and and we all became friends and found each other. But prior to that, it was just a solo thing, right? And then when you're alone, especially starting, you don't know if you're doing right from wrong, or is it working, is it not working? So it's all like trial and error, and so for me, my biggest struggle was finding a group or a spiritual family that I finally have now.
I think too, because you and I have been practicing for longer. When we started, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have, so you had to, it was much harder. It's not like you could just talk to people around you and see if there wasn't witches all over. We did not feel like we had a community online there. Well, I didn't have online when I started at all. And so much so that it's funny. I don't think that the people coming into it now could appreciate how hard it was to start your own practices and stuff. Like I remember when YouTube started and I started finding witches on YouTube and stuff, hearing some of the words that I had been reading for years wrong.
The pronunciations, right?
Yes, and being like, oh my God, that's how you pronounce that? I've been saying that wrong for 20 years. You know, like really, I never saw another witch until YouTube happened. So I don't think people can appreciate like really how isolated you were before technology.
Well, and all the knowledge that is out there now that you have access to with your fingertips. Like a lot of us didn't have that back then. Like, you would have to, again, order a book, read on the topic, take from it what would work for you, and then
throw out what didn't. Absolutely. Describe the deity work you do, if any, and do you have daily practices, weekly, monthly? How do you connect?
I would say weekly. There is, for example, like in the Orisha work and like in a lot of the African traditions and things like that, there's certain days of the week that you honor certain Orishas and you do certain workings on a certain day of the week. And so mainly it's weekly for me. Like I have wards that I keep in the house. And so I redo them like weekly. Like I keep a clear glass of water with camphor behind the door, the main door to the house. And I change that weekly. I go around my altars weekly, and if I have certain chalices with either water or a spiritual cologne to certain spirits that I work with, and so I do that on a weekly basis too. So there is things that I do weekly, and then of course the moon I like to honor that monthly, but I feel like the full moon I really don't connect with. I connect more with the dark moon. I feel like the full moon just gets me sometimes emotional, or sometimes I feel down. I don't know, just the energy for me. And it's weird. It's weird because most people, right, they're taught to honor the full moon.
Right. And to not do very much on the dark moon because
and then for me it's like sometimes that's when I have the best fucking energy.
Well, again, if it works for you, it works. That's why we're in this. Yes. Do you have daily practices that help you stay connected spiritually?
I like to start off my day with I do a Florida water spritz all over myself. Like to start off my day after I wake up and I get dressed, the first thing I do is start off my day with Florida water. Because with me, it's just the scent and everything. It gathers me together before I face anything in my day. So that's one very simple way that I like to start off my day. And then, candles for me, like I involve candles in everything. Like whether it's something as simple as a tea light to lighting some incense up throughout the day, especially now that I'm at home all the time. I find myself I'm running out of tea lights very quickly.
They go quick. Do you have a favorite tarot card?
Yes. It is our favorite tarot card. It is the Nine of Swords, and I actually I pulled a few of them because I want to show you guys my favorite one. So the Nine of Swords for me would haunt me for like when I first got my first tarot deck and stuff like that, right? There are certain images that would either trigger me or bother me or I'd be okay with. And the Nine of Swords would be one of those that kind of like, like, it kind of like there's something there that I don't like. But at the same time, it intrigued me. And so the Nine of Swords is one of those cards that I look for when I'm going to purchase a deck or something like that. Like, I want to see it I want to see the nightmare, right?
Yeah,
Like
I
come to
want it
life.
to be
So
good. Yes.
my favorite one is from
Oh, yes.
the Ethereal Visions. And I don't know how good this is gonna show, but right there. So you see her nightmare. She's in her nightmare, and you see all these figures almost like pointing at her, poking fun of her, right? And this is all the nightmare right here. And so this card I love. This is my favorite Nine of Swords because it just really just hits it where it needs to hit it. Then, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
trying to do that to you, but that didn't work. So,
This is one of
oh,
my
there we
other
go. I got it.
favorites. This is from the. My brain is not working today, by the way. This is from the Tarot of the She.
Yes.
And the suit of swords, they call him Dreamer. And so you get the keyword at the bottom, which is nightmare. And then look at this. It's like a claw hand, right? It's coming out of her own breath. That monster hand is coming out of her mouth. She's exhaling that negative energy, and that negative energy is like trying to claw at her. But that energy is coming from within herself.
Yes. Oh, that's a good one.
And then you have this. I describe this as like a not a blood moon, like an eclipse sun or something, because of the red ring around it. You know, like there's a lot in here that you can pick up in the
Yes.
image. And I love this deck. I connect with this deck a lot. If there's a deck with keywords that I love, it's that one.
That's a good one.
I just got this one in.
Yeah.
Tower of the Abyss finally. And this Nine of Swords. Oh my god.
Yeah.
We have like this fire, right? She's almost like being burnt. And you have these hands trying to like I feel like these hands are reaching for her to try to save her. And if she only can raise her hands up to grab these hands, maybe she can pull herself out, you know?
Yeah. Oh, gorgeous.
And then I have three more real quick. This is from the Shikoli Tarot. And here we see these two little figures, these two little girls, right? And like in their nightmare, it's a giant bunny that's looking for them to attack them.
I love it.
I can almost see the bunny knocking down all the blocks and
hell yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's a good one. Yep.
And then this is from the Santa Muerte Tarot.
I love
This
that
one
one.
to me really shows the suit of swords being of the mind, right? Where you
Yeah.
have all the swords piercing the head.
Hell yeah.
So those are just a few of my favorite Nine of Swords.
Love it. You know I love the Nine of Swords too. Favorite tarot deck?
Right now, I'll be honest, I finally started working with my Bonestone and Earth Flesh. It is sitting in my shadow work altar. So I've been doing like a daily draw with that in the morning. I'm connecting with that and Tarot of the Abyss. I don't know why I waited so long to get it because, oh my God, is that deck reading me to filth?
So good. Yeah, it really is.
Because
really
I feel like, especially with Tarot of the Abyss, I feel like you don't read the deck. I feel like the deck reads you.
I agree. That is absolutely, and it has to. Anna Turian is. I just adore her. It has to do with how she creates the cards. I think too. It's a different perspective a lot, and it's a different look at things that you don't always see. Just love her. Just love her.
It's like she really goes inside.
Yeah.
I just can't describe it. It just pulls it out of you, like
Yeah.
which I haven't had a deck do that to me.
Yeah. She's just love her. How many decks? Oh no. Do you have a stalker card that seems to keep showing up for you?
Recently, no. Back then was the Nine of Swords, which is why I love it so much. The only other card that I could think of that I really like and I connect with is my birth card, which is the Hierophant.
Cool.
And so I
Cool.
also like to look at different hierophants and what they look like and stuff like that.
Cool. How many decks do you have?
I don't think I have as much as you at all. I'm gonna throw a number because I organized them the other day. I would say like about 60, 60, 70 around there.
Really? That's
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Now I feel really bad. All right. Do you have a different favorite divination method and describe how it works for you?
Bone readings, bone castings, or bone readings. I love bone readings. I just the first time I tried it, it felt like picking up a distant memory for me. I That's the only way I could closely describe it. It's almost like a memory that I had lost or forgotten, and then when I came across it and picked it up and tried it was almost like this is familiar to me. I've known this before,
Mm-hmm.
So it clicked with me. Um, and it's something that is part of my daily practice. Um, I haven't been so active with it as much lately, as I know as I can be. Um, but it is something very fun. I encourage anybody that is wanting to try a different form of divination or something like that to try it. You will come across a lot of people that again try to gatekeep and tell you, oh, this is only one traditional way to do it by, the tradition of blah blah blah. Like, and there isn't one right way, especially to do anything. To do anything, there isn't one right way. And bone reading is does you could do that anyway as well. It doesn't have to be one certain way. We have in my research, bone readings has been one of the oldest types of divination, and even the Vikings did some type of bone reading.
Yes.
They would actually do something more interesting as to where they would the animals that they would hunt and eat, they would then burn the carcass. And after that carcass and bones had burned, they would look into the bones and see what shapes the burn marks made on the bones and stuff like that. So
Yes.
in that case, it's a form of like scrying in a way because you're scrying for shapes and marks on bones,
Yeah.
but it's still in a way bone reading as well.
Yes, I agree. Are sounds like a weird question asking you. Are you able to practice openly, or are you in the broom closet with anyone?
No one. No one.
I was gonna say I can't imagine you in the
No
broom
one.
closet with anyone. That's like a part of who you are so much.
The only times I have been in the broom closet has been like in certain work, like when I've worked in previous places before.
Yeah.
But even then, like it's not something that I hide. So it's like people would know I'm somewhat witchy,
Right.
you know?
Yeah. It's who you are. So
Yeah, like I don't try to hide it or anything like that. Like I've been very blessed to have a very accepting family, not just to be okay with my pagan path, but also, me being gay and all of that. I've been lucky, and I know not a lot of people have that. So I know I'm very fortunate to have that, and I'm very grateful to have that.
do you connect with a specific element?
Oh, geez. Water. I am air, but water. Water. I don't know. I guess
And
it's.
how do you incorporate water with your practice?
Oh, water. I use it a lot as an offering, first of all. I find that, if you are working with any type of spirit or deity or whatever you want to call the greater power, right? Whatever you want to identify it as, I feel that even if you cannot offer not even a flame of a candle, right? The most simplest way of an offering is water. If all you have to offer is water, spirit will take that.
Yeah.
And they'll be thankful for it. And for me, I cannot imagine my practice without water. Like even my daily, when I wake up, for me it starts with the Florida water. So I incorporate that in everything that I do. One of my favorite ways to incorporate water is when I shower. I like to think of the water just washing away all the negativity, or whatever it is that I'm feeling. Kind of like when it rains, for me it's very soothing because I see the rain as washing away, you know, all the
Purity,
yeah.
negativity. Yeah. I love it. Now I know we had talked about this before a little bit with Reiki, and for me, the more I learn, the more this incorporates into everything. But we talked about it as far as with Reiki goes. Do you feel that because your element is water, that that influences how you feel energy more
Yes.
in way like wavelengths of water
Yes.
would?
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember uh when we were working together, um, and a client came in the Reiki room, and you were telling me how their energy is much more different than other people's energy. For me, it was very much a flow, almost like how a river would flow.
Right.
That's how I would feel that the energy is a flow, right? And then wherever you don't feel, or wherever you would feel the flow not flowing as smoothly, would then be the spot that would need the work the
Problem
most.
area. I've been trying to point that out because I want people to know that they're going to feel it differently. And part of that influence, I think, has to do with their element for sure. And the more I learn, the more I think that too. So, did you have a particular aha moment with your spirituality, or has it been just a gradual process?
I think my biggest aha moment was the first time I watched you, and I heard you say, "If it works for you, it works." I was like, "Aha! Those are the words I needed to hear like 20 years ago."
Yes.
And for me, everything clicked there, right? And so, like, that's why I like to say, um, I feel like if I would have figured that out way back, I'd be more advanced than I am now. But I am thankful of where I am now and where it's brought me.
We can only learn what we're taught. So, do you feel drawn to crystals? Duh. And if yes, any particular ones you work with regularly?
I love crystals. I think that for me, I want one of every crystal in the world if possible, but out of any form, it would have to be in skull form. I have a lot of skulls. I have crystals throughout, but I mean, I have a whole cabinet over there full of skulls. That
Yeah,
whole
you have more than me.
cabinet is skulls. The whole thing is skulls.
Yeah, you have more than me.
Really? I don't think so.
Oh, yes, you do. Yep. I might have a lot more tarot decks, but you have more skulls than me
Oh gosh,
by a lot. Yep.
And
Oh,
so
yeah.
for me, crystal energy is something that is accessible all the time. I don't think that I think it is healthy to have a magical mindset right before working with crystals, but I don't feel like it's something that you need prep work in order to tap into the energy of a crystal. I feel like it's something that is there. It is like for me, it's living energy. That's the only way I could describe it because it comes from the earth. So for me, it really is that Gaia energy that you can tap into just by stepping outside and putting your feet on the ground. For me, very much is like, I can cleanse it, yes, and put it under the full moon and all that. But for me, it's an energy that you can just tap into immediately, like you won't have to prep for it. Kind of like how we prep for ritual and all of that before you're in the circle, before you even do your ritual and stuff like that. Like for me, you don't need to do all of that when it comes to crystals.
Immediate. Yeah, I like that. Do you have a favorite season or Sabbath?
Samhain. I like Samhain a lot. and Mabon. Mabon is my favorite. Mabon was the first Sabbath I ever honored in my solitary practice. And so I have a particular Mabon ritual that I did in mine, and I always remember that one, and I could remember what my altar looked like and stuff like that. So for me, Mabon is very special.
I like Mabon too. There's something about Mabon. There's been a lot of things that have symbolically happened to me in my life, like on Mabon or right around Mabon, or it's such a transition time, anyways, that there is something special about Mabon for sure. If you could see 5 and 10 years into the future of this circle, what role do you see yourself in if you could step into any role you were interested in?
I definitely see myself in the circle 10 years from now, for sure. I would, if there was a role that I could step into, I would say it would be to expand more. Like, if ever, right, I know of circles and certain traditions that they start locally in one place, right? And so they start expanding in different regions and different places. So I kind of like can see myself almost carrying your teachings, right? And almost trying to find people in more like in my region, in my place, and try to expand the circle that way, right? And continue to move forward your teachings as our high priestess.
Cool. Staying in this 5 and 10 year future jump, what would you like to see the circle doing for itself and the community at large by then?
I've really thought about our commune and stuff like that. And for me, the most important part to all of this is giving back, whether it's by teaching others to do better, or whether it's by cooking a nice warm meal, or treating others to whatever it is that you can offer. And it doesn't have to be material or anything like that, but to me it's important to be able to pass something on, and be able to lend a hand to others that really need it, no matter what it is, whether it's a hot meal, or teaching them something that they can learn about.
Love it. Name one thing that you are currently interested in learning about in our circle.
I am actually very, very interested in learning more on about Mikey's path. Um, I've been very, because of the Catholic background, right, that I've had and stuff like that. I've been very intrigued in demonology and angels and ceremonial magic, right? What we consider more ceremonial magic. So for me, I'm very interested in that. It's some things that I've read upon in the past and I've come across, but not something that I've like really focused on and learn about fully. And that's something that I'm really looking forward to.
Oh, I agree. And name one thing that you're interested in teaching or mentoring others about in our circle.
I see myself mentoring people on taking their path to a more natural, organic, when it comes to like materials that you work with. For example, like there's so much like power in herbs and bones, and these things come from nature, right? Sometimes because of the way things are, we think we need a wand, or this statue or that, but like for me it's more like the stuff that you can find outside that's accessible anytime. There's so much that nature just provides for us, and I feel that that's more important. I see my practice evolving more of that now than before, more so, of what it is that I have available, what it is that I can find outside. And I found bones just lying around before and stuff like that, like just hiking or walking through the park, or even if you're walking through the beach and you're picking up seashells, right? Or things like that. For me, there's power in that, and I feel more people should tap into that more than the material stuff.
Yeah. And would you share some tips for beginners that you have learned so far on your journey that you wish someone had shared with you?
If it works for you, it works. I feel don't be afraid. First of all, if there's one thing I can tell people is don't be afraid. I feel that a lot of people feel that, oh, I'm doing this wrong. They get taught of like, oh, if you don't cast your circle right, like you're just gonna invoke the wrong energy and you're gonna let loose a 300-year-old demon. Like, no. The only energy or spirits that you can invoke are that you call upon yourself, and how you feel inside. Yeah. Okay, you are the one that wields the energy. You are the one that invokes what you want to bring forth. That's all up to you and how you feel energetically and how you feel inside. So, if that's what you want to call upon, by all means, do so. And if it works for you, it works. But there's no wrong I remember, like for me in the beginning, especially, like it was so hard because, I forgot to. I'm here halfway through the ritual, and I just noticed I never sprinkled salt in my water.
Right.
And then it's like, I'm like, oh fuck, I fucked up. Like, and then your energy, right, goes poof, like, and you're like, oh
shit. I know. Well, we were talking about books and stuff. That's what we had to learn with. I remember waiting to try to do a spell because I thought it had to be done on a Tuesday. And every Tuesday I would forget. So waiting for 6 months because I was like, fuck, it's not Tuesday. I forgot to do it.
And you're trying to plan it, on a Tuesday on the planetary hour of Saturn. And oh my God, and then it throws you off, right? A lot of these topics, and I still feel like people gatekeep on this information. A lot of people are still afraid of practicing. And for me, it's like, no, you don't need a certain day of the week or a certain moon phase. Yeah, that empowers it. Yeah, it makes it a little bit better. Or it might just push it and give it the extra kick it needs. But that should not stop you from A, practicing, and B, getting things done. If your intention is there, if you're feeling it right then and now, do it right then and now. Yeah. For sure.
Definitely. All right. That is all the questions. Is there anything that you think I haven't touched on that you want the circle to know?
I'm pregnant. I'm kidding. I'm having a baby. I'm kidding.
Make sure you have your personal tenants. Do up your personal tenants and give them to Mikey by Saturday.
Okay.
Because we're going to give them out on Sunday when we do the circle meeting on Sunday.
Cool.
And that is it. Thank you, Hecsen, for sharing. And I love you.
Thank you for having me. I love you. I wish I could just hug you.
I know. I miss you so much. All right. You stay there. I'm going to end the broadcast. Thank you all for joining us and love you.
Bye.